Now, fasting has been practiced for thousands of years and is a staple across many different religions and cultures around the globe. Today, new varieties of fasting put a new twist on this ancient practice. 16/8 intermittent fasting is one of the most popular styles of fasting. Essentially, it boils down to this: it's not just what you eat, but when you eat that's important. People claim that it's an easy, convenient and sustainable way to lose weight and improve overall health. Much of that appears to be supported by evidence, but that's not what I'm focusing on today. Today, I'm going to talk specifically about the possible benefits of intermittent fasting on mental clarity. Is this real, or is there something else possibly going on? Let me walk you through the science and check out my experience over 7 days too. Hi, my name is Dr. Saab Johal and welcome to my channel, The Useful Psychologist, where I use my 30 years of experience and 2 doctorates in psychology to bring you my take on the hot topics in psychology applied to business, home, organizations, family, mental health, and your life, applying the best knowledge to solve your problems. Okay, let's go back a step and explain what we mean by intermittent fasting, especially the 16/8 variety. 16/8 intermittent fasting involves limiting eating food and calorie-containing drinks to a set window of 8 hours per day and abstaining from food for the remaining 16 hours. Now, this cycle can be repeated as frequently as you like, from just once or twice a week to every day, depending on your personal circumstances. 16/8 intermittent fasting has skyrocketed in popularity in recent years, especially among those looking to lose weight and burn fat. Now, while other diets often set strict rules and regulations, 16/8 intermittent fasting is easy to follow and can provide real results with minimal effort. It's generally considered less restrictive and more flexible than many other diet plans and can easily fit into just about any lifestyle. In addition to enhancing weight loss, 16/8 intermittent fasting is also believed to improve blood sugar control, boost brain function, and enhance longevity. Now, 16/8 intermittent fasting can be a sustainable, safe, and easy way to improve your health when paired with a nutritious diet and healthy lifestyle. However, it shouldn't be viewed as a substitute for a balanced, well-rounded diet rich in whole foods. Not to mention, you can still be healthy even if intermittent fasting doesn't work for you. Now, a word of caution. Though 16/8 intermittent fasting is generally considered safe, you should talk to your doctor before giving it a try, especially if you have any underlying health conditions. Okay, so how do you do it? To get started, begin by picking an 8-hour window and limit your food intake to that time span. Many people prefer to eat between noon and 8 p.m. as this means you'll only need to fast overnight and skip breakfast, but can still eat a balanced lunch and dinner along with a few snacks throughout the day. Others opt to eat between 9 and 5, which allows plenty of time for a healthy breakfast at around 9 a.m., a normal lunch around noon, and a light early dinner or snack around 4 p.m. before starting your fast. However, you can experiment and pick the time frame that best fits your schedule. Now, 16/8 intermittent fasting may be associated with many health benefits, but it does come with a few drawbacks and it may not be right for everyone. Restricting your intake to just 8 hours per day can cause some people to eat more than usual during eating periods in an attempt to make up for hours spent fasting. Now, this may lead to actual weight gain, digestive problems, and the development of unhealthy eating habits. And 16/8 intermittent fasting may also cause short-term negative side effects when you're first getting started, such as hunger, weakness, and fatigue, though these often subside when you get into a routine. Additionally, some research suggests that intermittent fasting may affect men and women differently, with animal studies reporting that it could interfere with fertility and reproduction in females. Indeed, the interactions between hormonal systems and intermittent fasting are complex, and more human studies are needed to evaluate the effects that intermittent fasting may have upon reproductive health, as well as all the other hormonal systems in our bodies. Now, a lot of what we know has been extrapolated from animal studies, so we really are catching up with understanding exactly how this affects humans and what the mechanisms might be. In any case, be sure to start gradually and consider stopping or consulting your doctor if you have any concerns or experience negative symptoms. Okay, now we've covered the basics of intermittent fasting, let's get to mental clarity. And you know what? It's actually quite difficult to find much out there backed by human-based science that tells us that improved mental clarity can be directly tied back to intermittent fasting. There's a few promising studies, like the one showing that shift workers who ate in restricted time periods had less risky behaviors such as falling asleep at the wheel during driving tests. If we go to animal-based studies, then one study found that mice that were on a brief intermittent fasting diet had better learning and memory than mice with free access to food. And more research in animals suggests that intermittent fasting can suppress inflammation in the brain, which has been linked to neurological conditions. And yet more animal studies have found that intermittent fasting can reduce the risk of these neurological disorders, including Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, and stroke. But really, as far as human studies are concerned, the jury's out as far as I can tell. So what does it feel like experientially? Does it feel like you can improve your mental clarity by practicing intermittent fasting? Well, I decided to give it a try. It's something I've done before, so I know I can do it, but I haven't tried 16/8 intermittent fasting for 7 days straight before. So watch me coming up now, reporting daily on how I felt as I reached the end of those fasts for those 7 days. So day one of the fast, I'm about, 13 and a half hours into a 16-hour fast. Yes, that 30 minutes does feel like it's going to make a difference at the moment. So yes, I feel good, actually. Felt a little bit hungry last night. I stopped eating about 7 o'clock last night. And then I stayed up watching a rugby game, Wales versus South Africa in the Rugby World Cup. Yeah, I felt a little bit hungry at about midnight, but managed to get to sleep okay. And we've got small kids, but we didn't have too much of a disturbed night. And I woke up this morning, felt okay, actually went out for a walk, had a coffee. A good first day. And I've done this before. And I do feel lighter. I do feel like mentally lighter, more prepared for the day. So we'll see how that carries on. I will break my fast at about 11 o'clock this morning. And day 2 tomorrow. See you then. All right, here we are, day 2 of the fast. And how am I feeling? I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling a little bit sluggish this morning. I've had a cup of green tea. I'm about, let me see, I'm 14 hours into a 16-hour fast now. So yeah, I'm looking forward to having something to eat, but I'm also getting on with my day. So not having too much of an effect on me. I don't feel quite as clear as I did yesterday when I woke up and started work. So I probably give it maybe a 7 compared to an 8 yesterday, maybe even a 6. But yeah, let's see how I go again tomorrow. All right, how am I feeling this morning on day 3? I'm actually interested in that I'm quite hungry this morning. It is now, I've got about an hour and a half to go out of a 16-hour fast. And woke up hungry this morning, but I've had a cup of green tea and that seems to be doing the job, sort of. What I also noticed yesterday was actually I didn't really want coffee. I had one, but I probably could have done without it. I didn't really enjoy it that much. So yeah, that's interesting. My need for caffeine has definitely tailed off yesterday anyway. Let's see how we go today. Oh yeah, in terms of mental clarity, I'm feeling okay, probably not as clear as I did yesterday, but pretty good. I've already done some work this morning, just did a 40-minute tele interview for a video that's going to come out tomorrow, so that was good. Okay, I just finished that fast, that 16-hour fast. That was this is day 4, I think. Definitely felt hungry a little bit last night before I went to bed, and definitely hungry now, so I'm gonna tuck into a smoothie and get some other stuff into me. But yeah, still feeling pretty good, and I think I'm gonna be able to keep this up for a week, and then I will tell you all about it then. Good morning, and excuse my unshavenness. It's been a rough few days. We've had 2 out of our 3 kids be quite sick. We've got a couple of them off school at the moment. So anyway, this is day 5 of my fasting, 16/8 fasting, 16 hours fasting, 8-hour feeding window. And I was hungry last night. I am hungry this morning. So yep, it's definitely having an impact upon my hunger levels, probably more hungry than I normally am. Attention levels are great, actually. Mental clarity, really, really good. I'm tired at night though. I get to about 8 o'clock at night and I'm done. So it's interesting. Maybe it's something to do with a more basic circadian rhythm that I'm hitting now with this different feeding pattern. And I'm not actually skipping any calories. I'm eating what I would normally be eating, and I'm probably even concentrating it a little bit more in that 8-hour window. So anyway, day 5 done, day 6 coming up, and 7, and then I'll take a pause and see where we are. Alrighty then, this is day 6 of the fast, and I am 15 hours in, and I'm feeling quite good. It's a Saturday morning, so I've got no work today, but I've got a lot of things to do with 3 kids in the house, and we're going to have some fun too. But yeah, I just wanted to say things are going well. I think I'm going to make it to 7 days, and then I'll probably make the video around there, probably about day 8 or 9. But I'm going to keep this going to see if I can keep it going. If I can make it to 7 days, let's see if I can make it to 14. And then I might post perhaps an update and a comment on the video then. All right, I just completed day 7 of the 16-hour fasting, 8-hour feeding window, and I feel quite good. I needed a couple of coffees just to get me going this morning, which is interesting. And I definitely have noticed the difference in how hungry I'm feeling. I'm feeling fuller after I've eaten, and I'm also feeling hungrier when I'm getting towards the end of a fasting period, or sometimes occasionally like just before I go to bed. So it's definitely doing some kind of like hormone resetting for me, and we'll go into that as I talk about what's happened over the last week for me. All right, handing back over to me now. Sab. Okay, so I have to say I felt pretty good. Just so you know, I am continuing on with this, and on the 8th day, I woke up with a headache and pretty hungry, but I think it's maybe because I didn't eat so well the night before. Pizza dinner, and I reckon that had something to do with it. Okay, so what else did I notice? Let's break this down into 4 categories, and let's start with sleep. Now, I've got 3 kids, and one of them is 2 years old and another is 13 weeks old, so an uninterrupted night's sleep is pretty much impossible. However, my sleep tracker and personal experience tells me that I'm getting sleepier earlier, and that my sleep, though broken, seems to be a better quality with a higher proportion of my sleep cycles being taken up with REM and deep sleep. So that's interesting. Okay, number 2 is hunger. I noticed that if I had to get up or push my awake time longer at night than when I felt sleepy, I would feel hungry. Now, I was able to dismiss this and didn't cave once during my 16-hour fasting period, save for green tea, herbal teas and water. But I also noticed feeling hungrier more often compared with how I would normally feel in my normal 12 to 14-hour feeding window, where I would habitually eat because it was time to eat or before I actually felt hungry. And during this fasting period, I also felt far more conscious of what I was eating, how I was grouping my foods and reducing my snacking to reduce the load on my digestive system. And that raised consciousness is probably beneficial for me just on its own. Okay, number 3 is more time first thing in the morning. Now, intermittent fasting has helped me eliminate one source of mental drain, deciding what to eat in the morning and timing it right and then eating it. Now, this is especially so because I've recently started taking low dose thyroxine, which means I have to wait 30 minutes in the morning after taking it before I eat. Now, I just get on with helping with feeding and changing the kids, walking the dog, and I'm into my day straight until 11 a.m. And I found that over the week, this has been a pretty productive time for me. Okay, 4, and lastly, I feel more clear-headed. So as you've gathered from my reports, I have just as much energy and clarity, if not more, than before I started. But of course, it's really hard to pull apart what's due to intermittent fasting and what comes from other lifestyle choices like my diet, though I don't think it's changed that much, or perhaps a good night's rest. But I've definitely noticed a recent increase in mental sharpness. But without actually testing and controlling for other factors that might explain the difference, then it's really hard for me to attribute that to intermittent fasting. It might just be the fact that I start getting on with things earlier each day, which makes me feel a greater sense of accomplishment earlier in the day, which is in itself rewarding and encourages me to focus even more, and so on and so on. So, does intermittent fasting directly lead to increased mental clarity? Well, it's hard to say, but making the switch to this pattern of eating might free up other ways for you to experience greater clear-headedness and clarity, such as a change to working patterns, your sleep duration and quality. I hope you've enjoyed this video and found it interesting. I really enjoy producing them, and I really care about public mental health, which is why I'm doing them. If you did enjoy it, please consider giving it a like and subscribing too, so you don't miss out on any more of my videos. And hey, sharing this resource with others and encouraging them to watch and subscribe too will also really help me out. Thank you so much for that, and thank you so much for choosing to watch this video. See you again soon, I hope.